preparing live stream. Looks like she's going this time. Not yet. We'll wait for just 1 second. Okay. All right, everything we're good. Go ahead. Okay. Streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Facebook. Is that right? Yes. Awesome. Athletes, Coach Blue Robinson here. Gonna come at you I guess like a bonus episode of one-on-one with Coach Blue, other than no call-ins today. On Team Addict to Athlete. Streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Facebook. Let's get rid of that, shall we? Awesome. Okay. When we are talking about Team Addict to Athlete, there's a lot of new people that also don't understand a lot about what we do on the team, and they don't really get what we're doing kind of as a group of individuals seeking recovery through erasing the addiction and replacing it with things of greater value. And so if you can just give me a little bit of your time, I want to share a few things with you. As our group's getting bigger, as our chapters are growing, we are all over the place. And I want to really make sure that everyone kind of gets an understanding on what it means to be part of Team Addict to Athlete. There is so much that to cover that if you have questions after this, please jump on social media, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you guys kind of get some more knowledge under your belts if you have specific questions. But today I want to talk about a really important topic of unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay, so unsportsmanlike conduct is kind of like a foul or offense that's been committed against the team. If you're an athlete and you have some kind of personal foul, or you have an offense because maybe you stepped out of bounds or you've done something that's kind of put the team's motives or gestures in question, you're probably producing yourself in an unsportsmanlike manner. So what does this look like on Team Addict to Athlete? This could be something like you having some kind of disagreement or problem with another person on the team or in the group. Having like verbal threats or verbal abuse. This could be something like physical threats and things of that nature. And it could be things that even like continued use, of the substance that really is causing the addiction in the first place. So these things can result in penalties, but I want to share you with a little bit of information on why I think it's important to talk about this today. On Team Addict to Athlete in the last, I'd say almost 10 years now, we've had several people that have had to be asked to either hit the bench or take a knee on the program because they've violated some of our rules. And unlike other 12-step meetings and things of that nature, Addict to Athlete is kind of its own independent program. And if you are asked to leave this meeting because you have been verbally aggressive, you've made threats, you continue to use, you put the team in an unsafe or unhealthy environment, you will not be part of this team. We will remove you from all of our groups, our social media, and if necessary, we will have to involve law enforcement to have some kind of protection order against you. Now, these are extreme cases. And so you might understand, well, why, Coach? We'll be talking about this today. Well, it seems that there's been some personal fouls playing against some of our coaches. And to not get into too much detail, I hope that you all understand that there are going to be times where the leadership of Team Addict to Athlete will ask certain individuals to step down and take a knee. And it's never a fun thing because I know sometimes the support group and the culture that you set in there might feel like it's the only outlet you have, but it's a privilege to be part of Team Addict to Athlete. It's not a right. This is a private organization. And if you're doing things that are counterproductive to what we have held true in our playbook and our rules of conduct, and you violate these things, you are no longer safe to be around the team and you are no longer safe to be on the team. Now, there's a few things that happen on situations like this. We take these things very seriously. Addict to Athlete has a governing board consisting of several leadership members who talk and deliberate about this kind of stuff. If someone's done something that's violated a rule so intense that it necessitates us having to bench them. There's a lot we can do to avoid that being the final straw and being the last thing that we do is to ask someone to leave. But there are some non-negotiables on Team Addict to Athlete as well. If you ever make threats to one of our coaches, one of our team captains, one of our personal trainers, or another athlete, you will not be able to be part of this team. Not until you show significant change and maybe some counseling, and maybe you meet with the head of the team, which is myself, Coach Blue Robinson, Marissa Robinson, our athletic director, and Coach Jed Jensen. We'll make the determining decision on if what you've done and the changes you've made kind of, subsequently put you back on the team. If a coach outside of Utah County, because we have a lot of chapters going on, if the head coach of that chapter asks you to leave because you violated a rule or you've been flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, that means you violated a very sacred rule. And again, these necessitate around several aspects: inviting other athletes to use with you, foul language when it comes to verbal threats and physical threats. Anything of that nature, athletes, will get you benched off this team. And unfortunately, I'm having this conversation because it's going on right now on a chapter that has reached out for some guidance. You cannot be shocked when you get a phone call or an email from us saying you violated this rule. You are out of bounds. It's time for you to pack it up. And we have every right to have you take a knee on this team. Again, because it is not a public entity. This is a private program. You will be charged with trespassing if you participate in a meeting and come there after having been physically or verbally abusive to one of our coaches, one of our team captains, one of our personal trainers, or another athlete. Now, here's the deal. I don't want to have things like this escalate to this point where we have to involve law enforcement and things of that nature. But the essence of this team and what's at stake, if you continue to violate these rules and these expectations, it's game over for you. Now, there's more programs out there that you can go be a part of that might tolerate your behavior like this, but we don't put up with it out here. It's a privilege to be part of Team Addict to Athlete. It's not a right. And so I also want to impress upon everyone's minds out there that if a head coach asks you to leave and you start spreading rumors and all kinds of stuff about the team, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But for all the athletes that kind of stick around, I want you to understand that that person's not participating or not attending for a very specific reason. And so without getting into too much detail, because no one wants to talk about the hard stuff like this, be cautious when you're getting feedback from someone that unfortunately has found their way off the team because they violated a rule and have been flagged with unsportsmanlike conduct. So it's kind of a hairy thing, but we are here to keep this team safe. That's what stands out about Team Addict to Athlete to some of the other community step groups, is that we will have you not attend. And if you continue to push your agenda through and you continue to make physical or verbal assaults and threats, we will have to involve law enforcement. We are a private company, a private entity. And although we are a nonprofit 501c3, that does not give you the right as a participating athlete or person in recovery to spread violence or anger or make threats against a coach, a personal trainer, a team captain, or another athlete. Now, granted, I'm doing this blanket statement because it's happened in the past and it's happening right now. But this doesn't mean that anyone should be worried, because if you're feeling like maybe you've stepped out of bounds, you crossed a line, cool it, knock it off. If you feel like there's something that needs to be addressed to myself, Coach Blue or Athletic Director Marissa or Coach Jensen, let us know. But the mere fact that right now on this team, we're having people make verbal threats to the point where they are pushing people into situations that they're encouraging physical harm, we have a huge problem with that. And so please be very mindful and be very cautious on how you conduct yourself while participating with the team. Now, there are more than one treatment programs out there, and there are more than one community programs for you to participate in. So if these things really aren't floating your boat, if you think we're wrong, you don't have to participate. There's 12-step programs, there's smart recovery, there's Dharma recovery, there's all kinds of other programs out there. But we will not tolerate unsportsmanlike conduct on Team Addict to Athlete. And I don't like to be this blunt and this straightforward, but there's times when if you're coming to our meetings high, you will be asked to leave. If you make threats, physical or verbal by nature, you will be asked to leave. If you violate those things, that's when we have to take it to another level. So we're here to help if you have a problem. You've got to come and talk to us and be willing to kind of open up and find out what's going on, you try to take this into your own hands, things are going to get way out of control, way fast. And I've noticed this when people have tried to just kind of, fix problems in and of themselves. We work and have relationships with a population that still struggles with addiction. We know that. And so some of these things are going to be, a little bit heavier on the hearts of on some, and some of them are going to be a little bit more tolerable. But please be very mindful of the people that you're associating with. These are people who are pursuing recovery through health, wellness, camaraderie, team, and relationship. And if you have a hard time with those things, Team Addict Athlete's probably not a place for you to be. And contrary to popular belief, because Team Addict Athlete is so intimate by nature, we hear about and know a lot about what's going on in all of our chapters. We have chapters all through the country now, and we continue to grow. But if you have a question on what's okay or not, maybe you need to have a chat with your head coach or whatever chapter you're in and review the playbook. If you're violating something and you think it's okay, if you're causing stress or harm or fear in another person, that should be a clear warning sign of like common sense that you've got to knock it off. So to be a good sportsman, you've got to understand that that's what real recovery is, to have like a real sense of sportsmanship. That's what your real recovery is. It's about playing by the rules. It's about staying in bounds. It's about not pushing limits. It's about being cool with your team for the aid of winning the battle. And so, because of some of the situations that have been going on with a coach and an athlete, by which that athlete has crossed some very emotionally unsafe bounds, it's time to probably put a flag on the field and have that athlete take a knee. And again, when you hear an athlete that's been benched off the team come at you and they're doing something called triangulating, where they're bringing you in and say, oh, Coach Blue, what a jerk, and he did this to me. No, there's a reason for that, right? Everyone has their own opinions and their own thoughts, but we do our best to keep Addict Athletes safe. We want to keep it moving forward. And I do not mind removing people who violate that to keep this group safe. And that's a hard thing to do. And if you've been on the team long, like Coach Jensen and Coach Carter, you'll know that there's been many that have had to take a knee. And remember, there's always a way back if you follow the rules. I think since the inception of Team Addict Athlete in 2011, we've only had one or two athletes, I think two athletes, that we've asked never to come back because they've violated rules that were so significant by nature that they put other teammates in jeopardy. So that being said, play by the rules. There are bounds and there are boundaries and baselines for a very specific reason. Be very careful how you conduct yourself when you are getting frustrated or angry. Don't take it out on your coach. Take it out on the addiction. Reframe your mind. Reach out for help and support. Reach out to us, the leadership of Team Addict Athlete, before these things get out of control, so that you can have a little bit of buffer zone to maybe weigh out some of the emotions. Because sometimes, Coach Blue knows this, sometimes our mouths get way ahead of our actions and we really can dig ourselves in deep. So athletes, please be careful. I love this team with all my heart, and I will do everything in my power to keep it safe. And I know that by doing so, we'll be able to have some amazing experiences. So please be careful and be cautious on how you're interacting. We want to be the beacon of hope and light to a lot of different people, but we can't do that if you have alternative motives or you have your own victory in mind. This team's got to run as a team and not as an individual. So let's be cautious. Let's be aware. And like I said, if I'm talking to you directly, you might want to reach out to me. If I'm not, thank you all for participating. We do our best to keep it safe because that's the foundation of what this team is. If it becomes an unsafe place, we'll have to start shutting things down. And I don't want to do that because it's not the goal is to make everyone feel comfortable and everyone feel happy, go lucky when there's someone that's causing chaos and trouble. So let's be mindful of what we're doing. Let's stay positive by nature. And if at any point in time you feel like you need to have more information, please ask the questions. Your coach has a copy of the playbook with all the rules and all the expectations, and they're common sense topics, guys. Don't threaten anyone on the team. Don't stalk them or mock them or try to fight, right? Do not come to group or the team high. If you do those things, you're going to find yourself not on this team, and I'll stand by it every time. So with that, please check into your coach's playbook if you have any questions, if you have any additional stuff. Remember, Wednesday's one-on-one with Coach Blue. Sportsmanlike conduct is very crucial on Team Addict to Athlete if we're going to keep going. And really, the goal here is to end the addiction and replace it with things of greater value. So let's do that. Thanks for watching.